morning to everyone. Welcome to today's online webinar on the topic role of digital online and virtual technology in formal and non-formal education for rapid rural transformation. In this regard, I would like to request our President, Professor H.L. Verma sir, to share his views on today's webinar.
So, thank you very much. Friends, it is an important day that our Department of Agriculture has organized a webinar on a very important subject which is relevant to the field of education and to the rural economy of India. The subject taken for discussion, that is role of digital, online and virtual technology in formal and non-formal education for rapid rural transformation. So while welcoming the guests and the participants, I will like to congratulate the department to take initiative for organizing this one-day international webinar. So we have with us as key resource persons, very important personalities. I will like to convey special welcome to Professor Dr. Hari Om Srivastava, who is President and CEO, World Development Foundation, New York, and he is former Additional Director General, All India Radio and Doordarshan, and he is also consultant to various countries in the area of his expertise. So on behalf of the university and on behalf of all of you, I extend warm welcome to Professor Dr. Hari Om Srivastava. By his presence, the nature of this webinar has really become international in the true sense. Another very important speaker which we are going to listen today is Professor Dr. A.K. Purohit, who is former Director, Distance Education, SKRAU, University, Bikaner. So in addition to that, I would like to welcome Professor Kalla, Dean of the Faculty, Professor S.L. Sharma, and other members of the organizing committee, Ms. Aparna, Dr. Ranjita Soni, and Ms. Nisha Meena. So the webinar has been organized at a very short notice, and the subject taken for discussion is highly relevant. We all understand that India is a agro-based rural economy. 70% of the population, even today, of the total 140 crores of people, so they are living in the rural areas. And their main source of livelihood, that is the agriculture. Now, in such a large-sized population country, so rural economy is perhaps one of the important sector which ultimately will determine the growth or the transformation of the rural economy. So there is a need in the country for inclusive growth, for sustainable growth, and for growth of the agriculture sector greatly. Now, India cannot achieve its objectives of becoming a superpower, super economic power without transforming the agriculture and the rural sector. It is a fact that unless and until, as a part of our policy, we focus on rural transformation, we focus on rural development, India cannot become or cannot fall in the category of the developed nations. We are still a developing nation. We are still even more than 70 years of our independence. So we are still in the category of developing nations. Many things are developing at the developing stage. And the rural sector is one of the serious concern sector which need attention of the policy makers. Now, in today's webinar, we are going to discuss about the digital and other virtual modes in formal and non-formal education sector for rural transformation. Now, friends, with the IT revolution that has happened in the world, the whole scenario, the way we are working, the way organizations are working, and the way we are performing as individuals also, so that has altogether changed. We are living in a digital world now. The present economy, one of the features of the present economy, it is said that it is an information age. We are living in a digital world. Everything has become electronic. So, internet, which has helped in the fast and cost-effective flow of information all over the world, it has helped in the integration of all the economies in the world. And with this, in the present age, because of this corona effect, we find that the importance or the relevance of internet, the relevance of these virtual modes, so that has become more important. Even these days, we find that our universities are closed down, all educational institutions are closed down, and the faculty is working at home, and it is only the digital mode or the internet and other virtual facilities, so that could make possible the delivery of the education in the present times. So in the today's webinar, we are going to discuss about both formal education and informal education. Because in India, it is also a fact that major part of the education delivery is through the informal sector only. It is a dominant sector. So, in both the sectors, because there cannot be inclusive growth of the economy unless and until we are able to involve each and every person, whether in rural area or in the urban area, whether male or females. So that is need of the time. Without that, we cannot grow. So there cannot be a sustainable growth of the economy. So in that context, today's webinar is of great relevance. So we have with us two very important speakers, so who will be sharing their thoughts, their views, that how in the present era of this, when there is a lockdown or COVID effect on each and every organization, including rural sector, so how we can make use of these digital modes or the internet facility. It is also a fact that in the rural areas in India, because of the sector is not fully developed, so there is a lack of facilities. We also find that some of our students who have gone back to homes because of this lockdown. So their major issue is that they are saying that we don't have internet there. We don't have the facilities there. So that is a serious concern. So all these things are highly relevant in the present context. So not taking much time, I once again welcome our esteemed guests, today's speakers, and I also congratulate the department to take initiative to organize this international webinar at a very short notice. So thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you, sir, for sharing valuable information with us based on your experiences. Now, I would like to invite one of the convener, Dr. P.N. Kalla, sir. Sorry, sir. Now, I would like to invite our co-patron, Dr. Vaishali Sharma, ma'am, to share her views and ideas regarding today's webinar.
So first of all, a very Atmiya Namaskar to all our revered and esteemed guests present today here. Professor Srivastav, as our Vice Chancellor have very rightly mentioned about him, so we can understand the kind or the level of this webinar we will be having today. Our another guest, Professor A.K. Purohit, and we at this university had the opportunity to work with him in different aspects. So thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and being again with us. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor H.L. Verma, who always guides and motivates us to conduct such kind of things so that we can remain connected with the recent happenings and what all we can do and inculcate in our educational system or patterns, whatever we are doing here at Jagannath University. Our very senior and very respected Professor P.N. Kalla, Dean, Faculty of Science. Other conveners, Professor S.L. Sharma, Professor M.C. Bohra, organizing team, and all my dear colleagues from the department and university, and the most wonderful participants who have connected here and who are really hoping, or I think they are definitely looking something forward to, which can really give them hope in these times where everybody is losing hope from everywhere, every corner we are getting such news that it is so depressing. But at the end, we really need to understand that this too shall pass. So, but till then, those who are surviving, they have to really be very cautious, take care of their health, and let us keep praying and imparting hope to all others around us. So, first of all, I would like to really congratulate Department of Agriculture for organizing this webinar. And there is one term in this, the theme of this webinar, rapid rural transformation, which actually attracted my thoughts. So definitely from last 1 year, we all are on the virtual platform, online, digitally, we are getting connected to people. And I must say that this has provided us opportunity to connect people of experience and expertise from all over the world earlier, which we could not do. So I found this very beneficial in this way that we can really get benefited by the experience and expertise of people around the world. So this is the reason I think we are here connected with Professor Srivastav, who will certainly enrich our thoughts, and definitely we will be able to inculcate in our education system at Jagannath University. So when we talk of rapid rural transformation, for last 1 year, I have been observing the behavior of students, and I have 2 sons. So at my home also, I am observing that behavior, the kind of behavior. So at large, if I got to understand is that students are not very comfortable with this online digital education, and there may be many reasons. And but there is no other way, there is no other option, and I think the way world is moving forward, soon we will be having this blended mode of learning only, and there are benefits. So when we talk of rapid rural transformation, so when I am living here in Jaipur, such a big city where everything is available, where online, my kids used to be so much of there, but still they are not comfortable with this online mode of education or teaching learning. So if we talk of rural transformation through digital, online or virtual technologies, I think we really need to use this platform today to identify that uh, how can we make it more useful, and how can we make more attractive so that they can really feel like connected. So I'm really sorry, there is no offenses to anybody, but as I said that I have been observing behavior of students. The students who say that we don't have net connectivity or such so and so things, they are always active on social media platforms. So it means they are having net connectivity. But there is something, I think, that it is lacking in the teaching learning process, that we are not able to convey or communicate or connect them, rather this is the correct word, that connect them with that learning process. So when we talk of rapid rural transformation, as our vice chancellor very rightly said, that we are an agro economy. And day before yesterday, I was listening to one of the videos of Sadhguru, and in that video, he was saying that we have been saved till date because we have been the agricultural based economy. So the more we are moving towards this क्या कहना चाहिए, शहरीकरण की तरफ, अर्बनाइजेशन की तरफ हम जितना ज्यादा मुड़ रहे हैं, वो उतना ज्यादा हमारी जो लाइफ को, हमारी चीजों को और कम करता जा रहा है. हमारे इम्यून सिस्टम्स वगैरह इतने क्यों वीक हो रहे हैं. सो it was from Uttarakhand government. They have actually developed lot of systems, because जब वो मजदूरों का पलायन हुआ and people were moving back to their native places, so there they decided and they planned to develop such kind of systems or things that कि वहां पर भी उनको रोजगार मिल सके. So my personal thing is that today's platform should really be used, that if we talk of formal or non-formal education, so first of all, definitely it is the need of the hour that we need to develop that kind of infrastructure, and that is the government and the companies are already doing on their level. But the major thing is that it is the intentions, and it is a very clear aspect that we really want to communicate them to the formal education. And formal education mein students, I have seen they are, why they are not interested, because I've been observing this thing for last many years, that why students are not so much interested in this. We have to force them to come to classes. We have to do a lot of things to make them to come to classes. So there is something which is not actually motivating them or driving them, that they can feel that they can have secure employment. At the end, whether it is education or no education, a person needs a very concrete or secured employment through which he can earn his livelihood. He can take care of his family and other things. So if we talk of this education, so I personally feel that we really need to brainstorm ourselves, that what can be those things which can connect rural people and which can really make them understand that where they are, they can create the best of the employments there, and they can have a quality of life there itself. So basic idea of this formal or non-formal education should, I personally feel that it should stem from here, and we should really discuss these things, that what are those skills what are those things which we can communicate through these digital online and virtual platforms, which can help them learn certain skills during these times. And I just remember one of the ladies from Pune, because I'm in one of the council, so we connected her from there only. So what she is doing, she's actually created a group of ladies. That foundation is Pula, Pune Ladies naam se hai, and she's connecting to all the ladies, who basically housewives and lower middle class, who actually uh, want to earn a good livelihood. So she is identifying their skills and training them in those skills and making them self-sufficient. So I think whatever it is, formal or non-formal, both things should be directed. Our platforms can only be utilized when we really understand the need and the basic thing, and we are able to convey that skill, impart those skills to those people, so that we can help them understand कि इस time में we think this is the best time when you can learn new skills which can help you earn a lot of earn money or livelihood in your life. And we have to actually we cannot always think that individuals should have devices or things to communicate or to connect with us. There can be different ways of identifying, because I keep reading such things. So I got to know that that some youth, they have created booths there, and they are helping school children learn those things. They are helping them coding and all those things. They have taken it to rural areas. So, and they have actually, why students are, all the students and most of the students in that village, they are literally, they are driven to learn that thing, coding process, because I think they are able to convince them, communicate them and connect them that how it can be beneficial in their future life, how it can be give them advantage for their sure employability. So my personal is that I am really looking forward of this platform today, that how and what can be the real things which can take it to the rapid rural transformation, which can really help stop this migration of these people from rural areas. Then only we will be able to see that kind of transformation, which will again strengthen the economic base of our nation. So this is what I actually wanted to say, and this is what I'm looking forward in this platform today out of the discussions. And I'm sure that people, such experienced and experts like Professor Srivastav and Professor Purohit, they are definitely going to help us understand these kind of things, and we will surely get something out of here which we will be able to initiate through our Jagannath University platform itself. So not taking much of the time, I would really congratulate once again to Department of Agriculture for organizing such a wonderful webinar, and all the students, all the colleagues, all the participants who are really working behind the scenes in these pandemic times, who are really trying to communicate, connect students. So many thanks to all of them, and all the best for today's webinar. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your valuable information. So this is very informative session from your side. So thank you for that. Now I would like to request our registrar sir, Mr. Tanmay sir, to share his ideas regarding today's webinar.
Perhaps he is busy somewhere. He will not be able to join. The registrar is busy.
He is busy somewhere. Okay, Tanmay sir is busy somewhere. So now I would like to request our one of the convener, Dr. P.N. Kalla sir, to take this webinar for further proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, our president sir, Co-President and Registrar, for giving me opportunity to organize such a wonderful webinar. And first of all, I would like to offer a hearty thanks to Professor Haryom Narayan Srivastav. He is an international acclaimed professor. He is not admin. He is also administrator. Also, he attended the superannuation from Ministry of Information and Broadcasting in 45 years back, and as an additional director, which is equivalent to the additional secretary government of India, and is a very versatile and internationally acclaimed professor, and who can take care of a rural transformation through All India Radio and Doordarshan in all over the India, not only in India, but in global issues also, because he is a consultant of so many of the university. We are very much fortunate to have Professor Srivastav as one of the speaker to share some experiences about the rural transformation, because in agriculture, you know, most of the farmers, they are far-flung areas and remote areas, and they are illiterate also. And therefore, the rural non-formal education plays a very important role in agriculture. And Professor Srivastav is also one of the president and chief executive officer in World Foundation of the Federation in all over the world. In different countries, he is taking care about the ITK solution, providing ITK solution in Malaysia, in New York, in Africa. He is one of the person who has been initiated the agriculture rural transformation network system in Africa, entire Africa, including sub-Saharan area, including Djibouti, Eritrea, Sudan, and Eritrea and Ethiopia also. And he is one of the pioneer who is a founder member of one of the ITK universities, one of the online university in India, and YMCA, University of Science and Technology in Faridabad. He is a founder professor. That this is very, we are fortunate to have Professor Srivastav with us, because he has been visited all over the world in rapid rural transformation to the farming community. And nowadays, before last from 2 years, we are already facing a problem of pandemic situation of the COVID, and the non-formal and formal education plays a very important role through the digital platform. And therefore, we have requested, although the Professor Srivastav is no time, he is all over the globally renowned person. And I have requested him, sir, only kindly or share your experiences to our participants, our faculty also, so that they can enrich their benefits about your experiences. Sir, I would like to request the Haryom Narayan Srivastav Sahab to kindly share your experiences, so that our faculty and students all over the world will be benefited by your expertise and by your taking care of the rapid transformation of non-formal education and formal education in the era of the pandemic situation. Thank you very much, sir. Professor Srivastav Sahab, kindly share your experiences about our participants and faculty. Thank you, sir. Professor Srivastav.
Good noon, and it's a great pleasure listening to all the dignitaries, Professor Verma, and thereafter Dr. Vaishali Sharma and Professor Kalla. And it is a great pleasure to come and share some of the experiences that I had during my 55 years of the career in ICT and broadcasting. Thank you for a nice introduction. And I'll be sharing a presentation with few screens, and then I will try to explain how we have been working for rural transformation, what can be done, what we have done in India and other countries. Some of the experiences I will share through these slides. Basically, I believe that education is one of the main thrust area if we want the transformation. And the education has to be reformed a lot than what has been done. Of course, changes have happened, and I know a lot of contribution has been done by many people, but still we have not reached where we should have. Just now, Madam was telling that students who don't want to come to class or they don't want to come and listen to webinar. Yes, webinar cannot replace the class education. It has to be something much more than a webinar. We are talking today, it's all right, it's a webinar, we can share some of the experiences, that is the end of that. But it cannot be an alternative to the normal education. So let us see, how can we use ICT and communication systems for strengthening our education. First, I will share a screen and then I'll be discussing also. So let me share it. Are you able to get me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, I welcome all the dignitaries and also the participants who are attending this international webinar on role of digital, online and virtual technology in formal and non-formal education for rapid rural transformation. In fact, Professor Kalla has put so many things that it itself is a course for 15 days for addressing all these things. But maybe we may have a number of similar webinars to share more information. Now, I go to. All right. So when we talk of the rural transformation, then we all know that the world today is having population of 7.9 billion people as in 2021. And out of this, 2.49 billion people, 52%, live in rural areas and they are suffering from food insecurity. Coming to India, our population as in April 2021 is 1.39 billion and 65% of this population live in rural areas. 44% of the population, that is 0.61 billion, are food insecure. They don't have enough food to eat and live in a way that people should live in a civilized society. India Human Development Index as per UNDP 2020 is 131 out of 189. Now, something which is very interesting to know, that Indian agriculture productivity per worker in India is just 2% as compared to a farmer in USA. You are all listening to me? Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Of course.
All right. So agriculture productivity per worker in India is just 2% as compared to a farmer in USA. And the primary causes are lack of education, skill, knowledge, and capacity. Worldwide Education for the Future Index in India 2020 is 35 by 53. And I remember that Madam was telling a little earlier that people are not interested, our students are not interested in coming to class or attending the webinars. Is the primary reason is he is not sure that after getting the degree or after attending the class, he will be employed in a good position. Will he get an employment? And if after attending the class, getting the degree, he is not employable, then why should he take interest? And of course, COVID-19 crisis has affected education, employability, and health. Now, people will never be interested in attending to any class or even doing anything. They will be more frustrated if they are not very sure of the outcome. If I am attending my time and money, I must get an outcome. Now the problem is that if 7.9 billion people in the world and 1.39 billion people in India are to be educated, are trained in formal and informal education, where are the teachers? Where are the people? And the only solution for training formally or non-formally or even skill development is to use technology. And yes, Professor Verma told that it has to be digital and it has to be online also. It has to be virtual. Even if the COVID goes away tomorrow, we all wish it should happen so. But can we get enough schools, enough teachers with outstanding quality to teach all these population? It is possible only if we use the technology. And some of the technologies can be used for doubling the farmer's income. I will come a little later about how technology can double the farmer's income. What we are doing and where have to go. The technology can be used for economic equity, opportunity, and sustainability. We have to deliver right information. Otherwise, there will be deficit of trust. Now, what technology we are going to use? The two main technologies are mass media, and mass media involves print, broadcasting, and social media. Print, of course, very important. We have been using in education. We have all printed books that use it. And I don't think even 25% of people read what is written in the whole book. They can't really. Broadcasting, that is one thing which is very, very important. Mass media, we have been using mass media and broadcasting for education, formal as well as non-formal, in agriculture, and I will discuss something about this slowly. Social media, as I told that, the information, if it is not accurate, then this creates trust deficit. And this is what has happened with the social media. We get all sorts of news, and even a good news gets mingled with the bad news, and we don't know what is the right news. So, social media is never targeted. Broadcasting can be targeted. ICT stands for Information Communication Technology, and some of the things which are coming and that can be used and are being used somewhere in the world is interactive web, cloud, and virtual technology. Now, one thing that I always stress, community radio. I was the person who brought community radio in this country, including the technology, in 2001. And this is a system where you can use to give education or information to your target audience in a very localized area. And this basically consists of, this is the real system description of the community radio, which was developed by my organization in Chaudhry Charan Singh University in Hisar, Haryana, and it was inaugurated by Honorable Chief Minister Shri Bhupinder Singh Hooda. Now, the community radio consists of basically two studios. One is the studio that you are seeing on the left, it is known as production studio, where the program is produced. The second is a recording cum transmission studio, this one. Here, either the program is recorded for broadcast later, or there could be live broadcast, and it can be broadcasted using a transmitter, then tower, and then antenna, and it can be received on any receiver, which costs about 50 to 100 rupees and available anywhere in the FM band. Even the mobile phones are having FM broadcast receiver, and it can be used. Now, this is something that we wanted to do it, especially targeted to the rural audience for forming, we call it a form radio, or community radio for developing the socio-economic condition of the people in a village or a community. Now, the community radio is an excellent tool, but on the basis of the Act, it only gives a license for 50-watt transmitter, which goes in an area of 10 to 15 kilometers. So we did some R&D. How can we extend the reach of the community radio locally and globally? And we came up with an idea of hybrid radio. If this is the university here in the middle, then there is a local cloud which works on the university Wi-Fi itself, so that entire university becomes an e-university, e-Pathshala. Whether it is an agriculture university or it is a formal university. So even if you don't have this license, you can use this without getting any license, and you can do the broadcasting here. If you have the license, then you can put this tower and it will go to 10 to 15 kilometers to be received on a FM receiver. Then you can also put to the global connectivity using internet, so that people may get on any digital devices, including their mobile phone, anywhere in the world. Now, this technology we recently used for Panchanan Burma University in Cooch Behar. And we did some innovation. The innovation was, it is having a cloud radio using Wi-Fi. This is a cloud radio. Then a community radio, of course, as I talked about it. Then the courses are also going on web, and it has got 15 colleges. If you are teaching from this university, any student in the 15 colleges will be getting the course live, which we call it streaming, or online. What I am talking, and if you are putting it live, people can listen to it. If you record it, and then people, if they want to see it again, they can see any number of times. Then we have also added some interactivity using WhatsApp. So the course is available on WhatsApp also. And it is on demand, or it is through cloud radio if they are within the university premises without any internet. And of course, they can have through the internet radio. And while they are getting the streaming lecture from the university, they will be able to talk while after the lecture using WhatsApp, either with audio or with the text messages. So this becomes an interactive teaching. Any teaching without interactivity, and perhaps without knowing that what I'm imparting has gone to the people, it has no meaning. So I will further modify this mode after a couple of slides, that how can I test that the knowledge delivered by me has reached to the student. And only if he has got by this knowledge, then only he is able to cross that lesson. I will talk to it after some time. Now, both the President and Dr. Vaishali Sharma were talking of agriculture development. And we put 5 community radio stations funded by Government of India in 5 linguistic regions of the country. And it was selected in different places. One was in Radio Raipur se CM bol raha hu. So this was in Chhattisgarh, inaugurated by CM. Then this was in UP. It was again inaugurated by minister there. Third one we put in Tamil Nadu Agriculture University in Coimbatore. The entire program was in Tamil. And this was in Ranchi University, Agriculture University Ranchi. This was inaugurated by Governor. And the 5th we saw earlier, it was inaugurated by Mr. Huda. So we put 5 community radio stations, and this was a test case, a pilot, that how it is going to affect the agriculture production. So we put it in the year 2007, and then the program was developed, the people were trained, a lot of seminars were done, people were made acquainted about the technology that is being done, and the farmers were involved in creating the programs. And then after 1.5 years, a survey was done to see whether we have done any transformation of those villages where the program is going. And we found that yes, some transformation has been happened. And we took that to Ministry of Agriculture, and Ministry of Agriculture has approved a scheme for all agriculture universities and KVKs to get the funding from Government of India if they want to set up a community radio. Here is a this is the Ethiopia, one country I have selected, which I always stress that Ethiopia was a very, maybe even now it may be not developed country. And there were a lot of socio-economic problems of knowing the rights, the health, the hygiene, to get some livelihood generation. And so we put 7 community radio stations. You see, this was not put in Addis Ababa. It was put in different corners of Ethiopia. These are the places where we put it. And I had personally gone to check it and provide some training. These are people who are getting trained. And then we found that they were so happy that they have got a voice to talk. So we had a lot of people coming there to speak. We opened them, okay, as long as you are not telling anything against the government, come on, you can do it. And there was just now an article has come in academia saying the impact it has made. We put it in 2015, and the article has come saying that they are still running well. It is making a lot of impact and people are very happy doing it. And of course, His Excellency Ambassador of India in Ethiopia, he wrote a letter to us, the impact that we made in Ethiopia. Now we are talking of farmer. Both the President and Madam talked about the agriculture. How can we help the agriculture? Yes, we can. We can. But we had to start that the productivity is only 2% of the farmers here. Why? Because we are still doing the traditional agriculture. This is traditional agriculture. You will remember when you see this diagram, you can always see that in the traditional agriculture you are getting, he is putting the pesticide irrespective in the whole field. He is not bothered which plant needs pesticide. And you can see here the water is being flooded and all the pesticide is going into the earth. So agriculture is being done, and of course they have got their produce, taking it to sell it. And this is the way they do it. So definitely the productivity is only 2%. Now what is happening in other countries? There is something like that. If you go to any Western country, they're using all these tools and technologies. And these tools and technologies consist of using drones for selective pesticide or selective irrigation. And so many technologies being used. I don't want to explain these technologies because if I start explaining it, it will take a lot of time. And so what has happened is the productivity has increased so much. And not only that, it has become a billion dollar economy over there. You see here, the Fujitsu, it's a company in Japan. And it has launched a company in Finland. What for? Finland is having very harsh weather. They want their lettuce in the month of December, the winter. And they don't want to import it from outside the country because it will take 2 days and it will be 2 days old. So for getting the vegetables around the corner, they have all sort of things like artificial light, plant, factory, and it's temperature maintenance, it's organic manure delivery, and all sorts of things. And they are going to have many billions of profit by 2022. They are produced like this. So we may not be so advanced, we may not reach there tomorrow, but one day we have to reach if we want to compete. And how it is going to happen? No. If an agriculture practitioner, a farmer, is getting 10 tons of wheat this year, and next year again he produces 10 tons of wheat, and by way of MSP or rise in inflation, etc., he gets more income, maybe even double. Then has his income been doubled? No. his income will really double when instead of 10 tons, he produces 20 tons next year or after 2 years. And if we want to do it, we have to move towards technology, advanced ways of doing it. And we did some experiment of this in India, in Bihar. Now, we developed this agriculture knowledge dissemination system in Bihar with the blessing of Shri Nitish Kumar, the Chief Minister who was there, who agreed to fund this project. And this was done in way back 2010 and 2011. So what we did is, we created an electronic media production center. We created a digital archive, and this digital archive is not only text, it is having video, it is having audio on farm practices. And this is delivered, of course, via net, but through community radio. But also we connected high-speed data lines. Just now Madam was telling that internet is not there, what to do? There are ways to do it. We connected high-speed data lines, and these all places were 200 to 300 kilometers away from the main university. This is the Electronic Media Production Center. Now, what happened is how we operated it. You know, this is the main studio, and these are the places: Harnaut, Katihar, Baka, Aurangabad, Sarsa, and like that. Connected were there. The professors will sit here, and they will be delivering a lecture. They will also be showing a video on a particular subject. And the farmers, assisted with KVK scientists, they are able to come here and listen to it. These days with mobile, if they are having internet, they can listen from anywhere. But anyway, they used to come here and listen. And some of the farmer will come and he will say, sir, this is the leaf, or this is my plant, and this plant is not well. Some insect has affected it. Tell me what is to be done. And the professor sitting here has to give a remedy. Both way camera is there. So he can see it and he can say, all right, go and use this insecticide or pesticide, whatever he says. Go and do it. Sir, but when it will become all right? Well, it may become all right after 15 days, after 20 days. All right, sir. He will come after 20 days and he will either be very happy, say, thank you, sir, you have solved my problem. Or I will come and abuse and he will say, you don't know anything. It has not solved my problem. You see, the effectiveness, not effectiveness only of the students, but also the effectiveness of the professor. You know your job. If you know your job, you should be able to guide the farmer. And then, of course, Nitish Kumar ji inaugurated it, and then he immediately sanctioned for this to be extended to 20 more KVKs in Bihar. We go to the next slide. Now, I am talking of universal interactive education using video, audio, text with self-evaluation. I always talk. If there is no evaluation, there is no teaching. Now, this type of thing which I propagate, maybe if we'll organize, we'll have another workshop or webinar to explain it, but I can just tell that this is a mix of classroom and online, suitable for higher, middle and primary education. This is also suitable for livelihood generation and lifelong learning. What are the main features? It uses audio. it is a video, it is a text lessons, and with inbuilt question bank. The interactivity using lectures via video conferencing. What we are doing today during COVID is only we are using the video conferencing. This is only a small part of the entire study system. You are transferring the knowledge. As long as the knowledge has not been transferred, I have not done anything. How to know the knowledge has been transferred? There is a question bank. And from this question bank, every student, after he has gone through the lesson, he gets a question randomly selected. No two students will get the same question. No professor will also know what question he is getting. He has to reply that. And if he has not learned to a certain lesson, certain level, then he will fail. He will not be able to switch to the next lesson. So it is as transparent as GMAT or GRE in the whole world. Some person sitting in USA, he creates a GMAT. Everyone is getting a separate question from the question bank. The questions are only being revised by their experts. But experts, they neither can increase 1 mark or nor they can decrease 1 mark. It has to come like that. So can we develop a system like this? And we have done it. Now please tell me whether I should continue or I should close down here. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Should I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Now, what we have done is, you see, this is just a photo of the lesson, and this lesson is in media and technology. This lesson was developed by Engineer-in-Chief Doordarshan because I personally believe, and of course, most of the people believe that academy and the professionals have come together if they want to impart education which creates employability. They can be useful in the field only if they get an education jointly with the people, professionals. So Mr. R.K. Singh, who was a former E&C Doordarshan, he created this entire lesson bank. And the first thing is, here it allows selection of the language you want, because we wanted to create a universal lesson. So I will just have one real lesson on the web to show you. So you can select any language you want of the world. You can select French, you can select German, you can select Arabic. And for India, you can select Gujarati, you can select Hindi, you can select Malayali or anything. So once you select it, the entire lesson will change into that language. And then, of course, normal thing, there is learning objectives. So the learning objectives have been defined. He has to get this learning objective if he wants to get out of this lesson. Otherwise, he will not be taken to the second lesson. So it is a job. He may sit in his house, he may come to the university, anywhere. But this learning objectives has to be done. And now it is told that who are the experts and speakers. In between, there is also a professor will come and he will teach. There will be a webinar as we are having here. So through video conferencing, all the people who are having the password, they will come, they will share, they will see a video, then they will share it, what I was explaining for the agriculture farmers. So the video will be shown, then they will be asking the question, they can ask whatever they wanted online. And then these are the videos, history of mass media, like that. This is the live lesson. I will just show it. And he can go through all these lessons. There is a text also available within this. Oh, there is a text available, so he can go through the text. And then at the end of that, he will go to the question bank. And the question bank will be putting some questions in random, spitfire. And if he's able to go through it, wonderful. He gets a certificate and it goes to the lesson number 2. But if he fails, then okay, he has time. He can go through this lesson again. He can see the videos again. He can connect the professor. He can see all the audio lessons, text lessons, etc., etc. Again, go through the question bank and get the quizzes. And as long as he has not done it, he will not be able to go to the next chapter, next lesson. So once he has passed, he has learned it. And this is the technology I learned when I was doing my management in UK. And I went to attend some classes with BOAC, British Overseas Airways Corporation. Their training center, I got some training. Way back in 1984. And they had created this type of simulated lessons. And they told me that after these simulated lessons, when the students have gone through, they're capable of sitting in the cockpit and they can fly the plane. Just say, we cannot give the training taking him to the plane. It has to be done here on the earth using computer and simulation. And once the simulation has been done, he is trained by that. He will go there and he will be able to fly it. Of course, there will be some person sitting beside him, will be guiding till he does the mandatory number of flying hours. So that is the type of lesson we have done it. And this type of lesson is not only good for formal high-level education, but also for something for livelihood generation. For example, chicken farming. Now, any lady in the village, she can do the chicken farming near her hut. There will be some space. So for her also the lesson has been created with a similar thing. There are some videos, she can see the video in her own language. Murgi palan, chicken farming, etc., etc. There will be also video conferencing. Agriculture expert can sit here. He can talk on the chicken farming, what are the diseases, how to do it, and how to sell it, what is the marketing, how much benefit can come in real terms. So if you are able to tell that, okay, you spend 500 rupees, but every month you will be getting 100 rupees or 200 rupees. Why not? Why not will they do it? They will listen to you. They will run after you, not the vice versa. And then, of course, the content is very important. You can do either through community radio or through the interactive web that I was talking. It can be on social development, in livelihood generation, self-employment. In many places like Faizabad Agriculture University, we called the ladies free of cost to tell them how can they make pickle. And if they make it pickle in the house, how will they be able to sell it in the market? And if this type of lesson in Bihar Agriculture University, we did some lesson for women in tailoring and embroidery. And it was all free. It was all free. because it was government funded, government university, so it was done free. But maybe even if you charge some small amount, it's all right. Still they will come if they will find the utility of the lesson. And you can see so many things are happening. Some lady coming to the Agriculture University of Coimbatore, and she was selling honey for 30 years. And she learned what can be done better to market and earn more money. And once your lesson becomes useful, they will come. They will come. And then here the people are, broadcasting certain programs where they are telling their problems, and then some state officers were called to address the problem. So this type of interaction always helps. May not happen in one day, but maybe one day it will happen. And content for community radio is done. You have to go to the field and do it. Here you see some fellow is going and talking with the cobbler and telling what can be done. Maybe here the farm ladies, here some self-help groups. And some of these contents are available. If you want to see what type of content can be made, then this is the link, www.findia.org/radio.stm. And you will get content in different languages. You can get in Hindi, you will get in Tamil, you will get in Haryanvi and Chhattisgarhi and like that. So this type of content can be made and it's available free. Training is very important. And I always say that as a trainer, if I train you, then you cannot fail. Either you will learn or you will not get my certificate. One of the two things has to happen. So we have been given, this training is being given to commercial broadcasting for Sun Radio in Rajkot. This is the training recently we conducted for Cooch Behar Panchanan Burma University. The people came here to Delhi and a certain training was imparted. Here we organize a training with Vice Chancellor Hisar sitting here for Hisar Agriculture University and like that. This is the type of studios and the facilities that can be created for training using mass media and ICT. So this is some of the type of the facilities. I will not dwell on this. Now here I'm going to tell the live lesson on media and technology, and I will show how it works. Now you see, this is the type of lesson. This is online, and anybody can log to www.university.org to see the lesson. And I was just discussing that this is former engineer chief Doordarshan, who was the coordinator for this lesson. And then it is having, if you come here, then you can select the language. I was telling that you can select any language, Arabic and so many, French, Chinese, or anything. But let me select the language, say Hindi, which I can understand and perhaps you can understand. So if I do the Hindi, the media and technology has become medium and product. And Pathakram Nideshak, and his name comes, Seekhne ka maqsad, and like that. So it changes in Hindi, Gujarati, or anything. Let me come back to the original one, to India, in English. Now, the learning objectives. So after completing this course, what will happen? What you are going to get? You will understand the power of digital to empower. You will understand what is the compression. you will understand emerging trends in digital broadcasting. And of course, this course is not meant for technical people. This was made for general people who want to become journalists. But they must know what is compression, internet radio, satellite broadcasting, what it is, satellite communication, how it can, the world is becoming a global village, a little about all these things. And then this is the curriculum, and then this is the online video. We can have a communication here, and I can teach from here. And then these are the video lessons. So if I put the video lesson, and then you can see any of the lesson, evolution of mass media, etc., audio and video compression, satellite communication system. And you see on everything, he's getting the entire text, the synopsis, the text, what will happen, the duration, emerging trends in broadcasting, everything he gets it, including some references, artificial intelligence. So he gets it. There is no point, and what we feel that when you are educating, there is no point in going through 8086 of chip and like that, which they are doing still in engineering colleges. It's not required. You have to update it. You have to make it modern. It must be useful. It must be employable. So you see digital compression, it is being taught in the Voltage Expert system. And then here I was telling that it comes media and technology. After he has done the lesson, he can switch to chapter 2 or lesson 2 only when he passes this. So he says, you have learned this journey, why is this, that, this is what we have taught you in this lesson. He start the quiz, and then he says, radio is a medium of transmission from many to many, from one to many. And of course, I will put it right. So you are getting next one. So once like that, you go on getting the questions and you go on answering it. And once you have answered it and you have crossed a particular level, then only you will be able to log into the next lesson. Otherwise, you will not be able to log in. Okay. All right. So this type of course is available, and it is available on many of the courses have been developed it. Especially you will find that if I go to the online courses, this SDG 2030, which is of course another topic, Sustainable Development Goal 2030, which World Community feels it should happen. I don't think it will ever happen. COVID 2019, what technology you can use for COVID 2019, education technology, how can it be done? Women empowerment, skill development. And in skill development, there are a lot of courses like honeybee keeping, chicken farming, cattle farming, etc. Agriculture allied courses are there, artificial intelligence, mass media, and of course there is also UGC courses are here. So a combination of courses are there. Of course, this we have created to just to show that what type of education could be possible. Okay. And then, of course, we conduct a lot of national and international seminars, workshops, and I've been attending these for whether conducted by myself, others. And this is some of the footprints that we are trying to help people in developing some of the things. And this is the end. I think I have tried to give a glimpse of what the education should be. How can we use the ICT and mass media technologies if we really want to make our education effective, especially during COVID and post-COVID, because in any case, it is not possible to educate such a large population without using the technology. So I hope I was able to give a glimpse, and I will be very happy if you have any questions from me.
Thank you very much, sir. On the behalf of Jagannath University, I would like to offer a heartily thankful to you, sir. You are just not an administrator, but also an academician also. because I also visited in Africa in 2001-2002 with Professor B. Kumar, presently in the Bihar Agriculture University as a Professor Emeritus, where we both are work together for transmitting the different messages to the grassroots functionaries of Africa and sub-Saharan area, Djibouti, Eritrea, Sudan also. But there must be a translator in between we people. And he is not in a position to understand what we are interested to transfer these messages. This is my own experience, sir. And secondly, sir, during I attend superannuation from the post of director, I initiated community radio through different Krishi Vigyan Kendras in all over the Rajasthan, sir. And I also visited the Jalandhar area in Punjab Agriculture University, where the farm women have initiated the milk production technology through this transmission program in Jalandhar district of Punjab also. Sir, we have learned so many of things from you because you have been associated with this Kisan Gyan Charcha Gyan Vani through channel in the IGNU. Indira Gandhi Open University was one of the national university of transferring this online education and where you have initiated this Gyan Vihari, really we are appreciating. And we also learn so many of things from your very veteran and stalwart speech. And we also implement in our day-to-day activities. Because, sir, even in Rajasthan, I'm just quoted one example, even the tribal belt of Udaipur and Banswara and Dungarpur, where I have worked for 3-4 years. Even the farmers are so poor. They don't have any land. How we can transfer the technology to the farming community is a very challenging issue. And ICR has given us so many tremendous efforts through the Krishi Vigyan Kendras in different areas. And you worked in a Federal Republic of Ethiopia. The farmers are very poor because I have worked with the farming community and organized so many of the activities in sub-Saharan area of Africa. But really, sir, you have given a very insight from developing country to very underdeveloped country and very below state of farmers in different area of Rajendra Agriculture University in Samastipur in Bihar. And we were together, sir, Professor B. Kumar and myself were together in Ethiopia for more than 2 years. We worked together and we learned so many of things, sir. And our students of this Jagannath University and faculty of the staff, they also encouraged by your speech. And definitely, sir, I am also associated with this Charcha Mandal and Krishi Doordarshan from Doordarshan Kent, Delhi and Jaipur also. And we organize so many of the program for the farming community. Sir, you have delivered a very excellent lecture, sir, and I have no words to express my sincere thanks and cooperation to you that farmers and students may learn so many of things. There are certain questions, sir, from the faculty institute. Professor Sarma, S.L. Sarma is a professor of agronomy in Jagannath University will take this mic and take the question answer session because so many of staff and students, they are eager to raise certain questions in their mind. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, on the behalf of myself and the Jagannath University for sharing a very versatile lecture. And so we did not forget you, sir, in forever. And Professor Sarma will take, sir, question answer session. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, good afternoon. Actually, really, our participants are very impressive with your deliberation. Actually, in real sense, we don't have any words to convey your appreciation. And we want to get benefit of your this deliberation. And I request to our participants, if they do have some queries, our Srivastav sir with us, you can make your question, he will reply. So I request again to participant, kindly make query if you do have, sir. So from faculty, student may have question. So I think everybody is satisfied with your deliberation. No question, no queries. Okay.
Sir, Sir, I have one question, sir. Even in India, there different languages are prevailing in different states, like just Gujarat. Even the farmers cannot speak in Hindi, even they are preferring the Gujarati. Even in Karnataka, where I visited the Dharwad and the University of Agriculture, they speak in Kannada. Even look in Bihar also. Even India has a varied languages, and we are publishing the literature in their own languages and transferring the message through the different media. How the community radio will play the important role for transferring this message to different parameters of these universities, sir? ये बोलेंगे सर.
Yes, thank you. One thing is when we are on web, then in interactive web, we have made a system where it is possible to select your language and you can get your lessons in the language you want. Whatsoever we are putting videos in on YouTube, if it is written in, if it is spoken in English, then it is possible to have translation in some of the languages. It may not be a wonderful translation, but it is a machine translation, and you can definitely understand what the meaning. It may not be grammatically very correct. As far as community radio is concerned, community radio is also meant for a specific area. And of course, you may or you may not be knowing that I am the person who was the architect for the community radio in the country. And I created the entire draft and act for the community radio, including the technology. And because the licenses are given almost free, we put restriction on the power of the transmitter and the height of the tower, which is 50 watt and 30 meters. And therefore, it can only cover 15 to 20 kilometers. And since it is a limited area coverage, therefore, you can use the language that the people speak locally. Kisan Vani channel, that was also created by me in 2004 for Ministry of Agriculture, where we agreed to lease our 96 FM transmitters to Ministry of Agriculture for broadcasting the program. So that is the avenue where you can use for having multilingual programs.
Yes, if anybody have questions, they can convey through the question box, so that reply will be conveyed to them on the mail also. So, sir, once again, thank you very much. Now, I think Professor A.K. Purohit sir will deliver their presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. So nice of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we have another speaker, Professor A.K. Purohit. He was a former director of Staff Academic College cum Distance Education Center, including the Director Extension and Planning Monitoring. And during his tenure, because he is dealing with this farming community and the faculty of all over the India, and he has mooted so many of the ideas through distance education, as the farmers are totally illiterate and don't have interpret facility. And Professor Purohit has a vast experience of more than 40 years in different capacity as a professor of plant physiology, and he worked in establishment of various Krishi Vigyan Kendras of India. Professor Purohit has credited 10 books and more than 100 publications of high rating journals, and he is a pioneer of initiating the distance education program in State Agriculture University Bikaner, and initiated 2 programs to the farmers distance education through Jal Bachat Kheti and organic farming. Because you know the water scarcity prevailing all over the India and world also, and Professor Purohit has given a wonderful idea how the farmers can raise their crop without using much water. Firstly. Second, everybody is aware that the problem of pesticide and insecticide are too much, and he mooted one idea of organic farming through the distance mode, and more than 300 farmers they have been associated, and he has awarded the certificate also. And Professor Purohit is a pioneer and one of the founder of Academic College and Distance Education Center of Bikaner University, who has mooted this idea. And I don't want to much it between me, you and Professor Purohit. I would like to request Professor A.K. Purohit to share your ideas about the how distance education board can play an important role for doubling the farmers' income, as the idea mooted by Honorable Prime Minister in 2022. Thank you, sir. Professor Purohit.
Sri Ganeshaya Namah. Honorable President, organizers, and dear participants. Thank you very much, Dr. Kalla, for a very affectionate introduction. At the outset, I would like to express my gratitude and appreciation and rather admiration for the lecture just delivered by Professor Srivastava. It was full of hopes and optimism that the ICT can bring out a rapid transformation in rural areas. He presented an excellent amalgamation of extension education, the education, training, and dissemination of knowledge. And he narrated the story of ICT, the latest advances which is taking place at the world. I think that today's initiation and the beginning with Professor Srivastava's note is a note of hope for all of us that the rural transformation with the help of ICT is possible. Because he was not only a teacher, he was involved in the planning and the implementation of ICT for rural development. Thank you very much, Professor Srivastava. As Professor Kalla just said, that when in year 2000 or so, when he himself, Dr. P.N. Kalla, handed over his baton of Directorate of Academic Staff College cum Distance Education at SKRU headquarters at Bikaner, I was in a way forced to know and understand the meaning of terms associated with distance education and could gradually appreciate the great potential of digital, online, and virtual technologies in formal and non-formal education. The theoretical awareness about the advances in info communication technology became a practical challenge, that how this knowledge could actually be used for illiterate or less literate farming community. Challenges are the best teachers. Our small team of 3 faculty and 2 assistants could start first non-formal certificate course on Jaivik Krishi in Hindi, where more than 18 years of age and ability to read and write Hindi were the eligibility to seek admission in a certificate program run by a state agriculture university of Rajasthan. Very soon, we launched another certificate course program on Jal Bachat Kheti and were ready with the 3rd certificate course on Panchagavya Pradyogiki. that I got superannuated in 2009 and the things did not move further. The university could not harness the vast potential of non-formal mode and ICT for educating farming community on specific aspects of agricultural sciences. Till 2009, there were more than 2,000 farmers who had taken admission and completed the course, which was of 3 months duration, had a nominal fee, and was completely free from any bottleneck of attendance and examination. The philosophy was that the students were supposed to learn and do it in their own farms and not to seek a job for any government or private company. In a way, we had shown that non-formal education is for work or self-employment, whereas formal education is for seeking job or service or employment where one works for others to earn salary and wages. Education has many definitions, objectives, and purposes. But when we settle down that it provides knowledge and skill to work and earn, both non-formal and formal ways of education become equally important. The unfortunate part is that our mindset is that job is preferred over work, employment is preferred over self-employment, and the tendency to work for others is so predominantly high that we have not been able to realize the actual importance of non-formal education and could not think of prospects where institutes of higher education like university or colleges would develop a model of non-formal education as we did. Similar is the case of distance education. Although distance education can be given through print mode, data mode, earlier known as correspondence course, and by digital, online, or virtual mode. In Western countries, the distance education is synonymous to online education using internet on computer, laptop, tablets, or smartphones. It would not be out of place to mention that we had also launched our certificate courses online by making a separate website, www.krishishikshaonline.org, along with printed books of the courses. Today, those non-formal courses are lying in the historical archives, and the domain name has not been renewed. We shall try to understand the reason of this situation. However, my flirtations with ICT and distance education continue even after superannuation. That we, Dr. P.N. Kalla, myself, Dr. Ellen Hirsch, the first Vice Chancellor of Agriculture University, Jodhpur, Dr. Arun Kumar, Principal Scientist, CARI, Jodhpur, got involved with the Educational Multimedia Research Center, Engineering College, Jodhpur, to develop UG-level online courses of agriculture, and our team of more than 18 experts developed courses for first year and second year. The project was funded by NME ICT of CEC, the Consortium for Educational Communication New Delhi, which is the body responsible for education via TV channels like Vyas Channel, Swayam, and Swayam Prabha. The most discussed and ambitious MOOC, MOOC, Massive Open Online Courses, is also with CEC. We had completed the videography of more than 18 courses for first and second year level in 2014. But to the best of my knowledge, the CEC has not been able to start till today. My intention of telling this personal story is to express that despite much fanfare, we as a state and a country had not been able to much successful in harnessing the potential of non-formal education vis-a-vis distance education. The COVID has done one thing. It has transformed almost all university, colleges, and schools into distance education institutes, where the mode of teaching and learning have become on. Some elements of non-formal education is also being witnessed, that students are being promoted without exam. But COVID would subside and we would revert back to our classroom teaching. And we should revert back to classroom teaching in those institutes which have been established with that purpose. My objective of talking on this topic is to identify problems in education and how distance education technologies can offer solutions, not only during pandemic, but during normal days also. Before proceeding further, a word about virtual technology, as Dr. Srivastava said. It is a 3D experience, a virtual experience, where aircraft can be learned through the virtual technology, and he or she can able to fly it in the air and in the sky with the help of a person sitting nearby. I would not prefer to bog down minds of participants with data and statistics of educational scenario of country. It should suffice to say that India is a big country, the second highest in population after China. After independence, the then visionaries like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Sardar Patel, Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Sarvepalli, Dr. Radhakrishnan, Pandit Govind Vallabh Pant, and many more visualized the importance of formal education and established bodies like UGC, ICAR, etc., which are regulatory bodies for supervising and monitoring universities of science and humanity and agriculture. The education being a state subject led to establishment of boards of secondary education and directorate for primary and middle level education. Perusal of an excellent book by K. Sujata on education in India reveals that India has a well-organized central body, the National Open School, NOS, for facilitating and quality management of education through open distance learning or ODL mode. Each state had its network of government colleges, whereas UGC had provisions of autonomous central and state universities. Technical universities for engineering and medical colleges, deemed universities and private universities. A good number of private colleges came up, which were affiliated to universities approved by UGC and state government. However, the ICAR did not start private universities or colleges, yet private education in agriculture was allowed by state government in UGC approved private universities and affiliated colleges. We have seen a mushroom growth of engineering colleges, good number of business management and veterinary colleges in private sector. But the private medical colleges have a recent origin in North India, while they existed in South India since long. Similarly, at school level, the three types of schools, state government, central, and private school existed. Needless to say that in urban sector, the private missionary or convent school have been preferred over government school. The rural sector largely depended on a government school. There are a large number of regulatory and advisory bodies to frame courses, curricula, syllabi, and conduct of examination. Ministries of Education and Human Resource Development are the apex controlling gears in the state and the central government. The UGC and ICAR have introduced the concept of accreditation for ensuring the quality education, and the term accreditation became synonymous to recognition of degrees and diplomas given by autonomous government or private universities. Thus, we see that in India, the education sector was greatly strengthened. But the question remained, was it sufficient or adequate? It was not. Looking to the size of population and magnitude of populace residing in villages, the gaps were yawning in case of higher education. And in order to fill this gap, well-planned open universities like Indira Gandhi National Open University in Delhi and Vardhaman Mahavir Open University at Kota, Rajasthan were established. The IGNOU has the unique distinction of having largest number of enrollment in the entire world. yet the focus remains on formal education. The classroom-based teaching institutes continue to remain insufficient, and the distance education efforts continue to struggle for equanimity with close proximal education. The efforts to impart education for skill development were sporadically visible at polytechnic colleges and ITIs, but their credentials were considered lower than that of engineering graduates and hence could not grow to the desired level. The first major effort to institutionalize non-formal education came from an Indian diaspora, Dr. Rajendra and Ursula Joshi, residing in Switzerland. The couple was first to analyze the economically successful model of Swiss government and started to pursue Indian government to adopt that model, which they termed as Swiss dual model of skill training in 2006. The dual model means that learning theory was to be in the classroom and receiving practical training to be at an industry. Even Swiss government consented to collaborate, but the effort took 10 years. And the first skill-based university of the world came into existence in 2016 at Jaipur, Rajasthan, now known as Bharatiya Skill Development University, BSDU, Jaipur, Rajasthan. The BSDU impart education and confers bachelor, master, and PhD in vocational, namely BVoc, MVoc, and PhD Voc. How many of us know about BSD? And how many parents have planned for their children to seek admission with same enthusiasm as that of IIT and medical colleges and other universities? You can try to find answer to this question. I still believe that the emphasis on non-formal skill development is lacking in actual terms of non-formal education. The university education is ought to be formal. It cannot be given to less literate, willing people. That is the reason our non-formal certificate courses started at SKRU Bikaner probably died with their own death. How can an SAU give certificate to a middle class person? It is a sacrilege. I hail and respect our stupidity and the courage of the then Vice Chancellor, Dr. Prabhat Masi, who supported the idea and even signed the certificate. But the fact remains, if we really want to harness the potential of non-formal education and that of ICT and distance education, we shall have to take recourse to some out-of-box thinking, not in letter, but in spirit also. Here I wish to change the track and take you on to a less traveled road. Robert M. Pirsig, the American philosopher and writer, mentioned in his book titled Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance that universities should not pass or fail anyone. It is the life that would pass or fail. After that, many philosophers and spiritual guides have registered their disagreement with present education system, saying that it is preparing cogs and wheels of an economic machine, whereas education should be a process of transformation and realizing the fullest potential of an individual. Since our spiritual guides have spoken like that, the topic and the statement be relevant. Here are some of the quotations of Padma Vibhushan Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev. Education need not only be a tool for survival, but for enhancing perception. The children must blossom and flower into great human beings. Education should not be about molding children the way we want, but about supporting their natural longing to learn. So in this way, our spiritual gurus envision the education of the country and the globe to be transformational, not only developmental. The theme of today's webinar is the rapid rural transformation. So these ideas bear real relevance. This time, Sadhguru has contributed to formulation of NEP, New Education Policy, 2020, and expressed his happiness that it provides opportunities for dropout to come back to mainstream, but wants that government should free all private institutions so that they can contribute in whatever the way they want. He says, if child is happy, parents are willing, what business government has to see how they charge fee or how they teach? Their product will ultimately come to market to prove their worth. I think private institutions have started facing the threat of survival as their golden management era seems to move. On the line of Sadhguru, Dr. P.N. Kalla and myself have some basic ideas we have been thinking for last 10 years. It can be transformed into a roadmap by which private universities can play a pivotal role in a rapid rural and urban, not only rural and urban transformation via a nexus of formal, non-formal distance education. We should respect our present ongoing system. We are all product of our present ongoing system. We should try to understand the NEP 2020 and contribute to the implementation to the best of our capabilities. What we wish only that a parallel stream through private university be started where the dreams of the Indian ideology and philosophy of a real education where an individual blossoms into a flower and a fruit comes to a reality. These are my few ideas which I wanted to share. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And thank you very much. Dhanyavad. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. You have already mooted a very good ideas during your tenure as a director at Distance Education Center in Bikaner, and our faculty and staff learn so many of things for your expertise. How distance education plays a very important role for transferring this technology for both the crops, only Jal Bachat Kheti and organic farming, because we are heavily moving in the era of the information technology and online education. I really offer a heartily thankful for you from on the behalf of the Jagannath University and my own behalf. Thank you very much for your sharing excellent views, and your presentation is very nice, sir. Our faculty will enrich with your presentation. Thank you once again, sir. Now I'm going mic to the Professor S.L. Sharma if there is any question answer or and vote of thanks.
Sir, Purohit sir, thank you very much for a nice deliberation. So I make request to all the participants, if they do have any question, query regarding their presentation, they are most welcome. So this is a question answer session. Okay, if there is no question, then they can convey their question in the question box that will be replied through our mail. Okay. Now, last and final vote of thanks. So it is my privilege to propose vote of thanks and acknowledge the contributors, those who have rendered their services in success of this international webinar. A warm and good afternoon to our honorable speaker, Dr. Hariom Srivastava sir, who has accepted our request in a very short notice. Although he is a very big international dignity, but we are kind enough on behalf of Jagannath University. Really, I convey my heartily thanks to give grand success of today's international webinar. Sir, your presentation was very excellent, sir. I don't have any words. Actually, PPT presentation, and you have covered a lot of agriculture aspect also. So although it was the topic was general, but you put impress on the agriculture. So sir, really it is to be saved and reserved for future also. So we will repeatedly use your this presentation. Secondly, speaker our Purohit sir. He is our all-rounder scientist of agriculture, and he does have the international identity. And sir, he is so great. Whenever we remember, so he is part and parcel of our Jagannath University family member. So sir, you share very good your experiences, inputs to our participant. Thank you, sir. And with the hope of the same cooperation and help in near future. Now, I thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, H.L. Verma, sir. He inspired this webinar and helped to we people for success of this international webinar. Professor Vaishali Sharma and Sri Tanmay Kumar, they were keeping continuous watch on progress of this webinar, and because of their positive help and inspiration, we got success of this help. Now, Professor P.N. Kalla, Dean, he is the model identity, and he was making link with each and every members of the organizing committee, not less than a dozen of the times in a day before this, and he could able to give a very good shape of this webinar. Now, our organizing secretary Medali, although she recently joined, but she has done a very good task and organized in a very nice manner. Now, Professor M.C. Bora sir, Ranjita Soni ma'am, Nisamina, Arpana, they are highly thankful. They coordinated this our webinar in a very nice manner. Ashish Vyas played a very active role in this webinar. Nandan sir and his team is really thankful for success of this webinar. In the last, and I convey those who shared their help directly and indirectly, they are also highly thankful. Okay, thank you very much. So now we conclude the today's webinar. Thank you very much. Best of all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.